Namaskaram. This is Dr. S. Bharat Narendra from LiveRight Clinic, Gindi. As you all know, our YouTube channel has been creating content for doctors for their general practice, and also other than Ayurvedic specialists, we have always had uh, from business management and management consultants coming and speaking for doctors. But this video is a little bit special. A veteran doctor has come to us to talk to the general public. So this video will be useful for even the general public. We have tried to keep the technical jargon as less as possible. It will be very useful for young doctors also, as you can learn a lot from this. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Very happy to have you here today.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, ma'am. Friends, we have Dr. Jayashree here as we talked before. So, madam, I know that you have been in this line for your family has been in this line for more than 10 generations now. This is the 11th generation counting. I think even before 1850, your
Yes.
people started, your family started working in Ayurveda. More than 175 years of history. That's a great
God's grace.
God's grace, exactly, God's grace. So, can you tell me how did you come into Ayurveda?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Like, I was in 9th, 10th standard, and my father was a great fan of Ayurveda. And we lived in a small Tata's town. That is, where they prepare this Tata salt. So, my father was instrumental in starting that and all. There in that town, being a small town, you knew about everybody, right? At least 5 or 6 people had fistula at the same time.
Oh,
Okay, and 5 of them were admitted in the hospital, and my father chose to no, I will go to Ayurveda. He had to actually travel to Jamnagar, which was around 3 hours, but he used to go on Friday, get it done on Saturday, come back on Sunday. He went for 5 or 6 weeks and he was totally cured without any operation or anything like that. Whereas these 4 or 5 people who were admitted in the hospital had to be there for quite a lot of time, and it took quite 3 to 4 months before they were out of that particular situation. So that was something that triggered in my mind. What is it about this science that is so different and that they could, overcome without an operation? And that was the time I first heard about Shar Sutra, got an interest in Ayurveda. And then I went full-fledged into it with, of course, my father's great support because he was a fanatic about Ayurveda. And that's how I got into this field, basically. Then I went on, I got the seat in Gujarat Ayurvedic University, supposed to be the best. And I was very lucky. And after that, I got married into a family which had 11 generation of Ayurvedic physician. My son is the 11th gen. So that also is again a great blessing. Out of all those generations, Pandit D. Gopalacharlu is very well known even today in the texts of Ayurveda. Of course, in South India, he is always there as one of the revered Vaidyas of those
Revered
times.
Vaidyas,
Revered Vaidyas of those times. So, this is in nutshell. We do have a Sri Ayurvedic multi-speciality hospital now, and we have almost 12 sections in that. Right from surgical to infertility to ENT, eye, all these things are included in that one. We try to say our focus was we always had this passion, I and my husband, that we should have somewhere when people walk into Ayurveda, they should know where to go. Unfortunately or fortunately, the world got divided into such that they didn't treat body as one. They went on to say, okay, you go to ENT, you go to gastritis. So when they come to Ayurveda, they are lost. They don't know which section to go. So basically, we strongly believe that Ayurveda is one. When you go to a proper Vaidya, he will treat whatever problems you have. But for the people's confusion, what do? Okay, they are used to having divisions. Fine. We also have MD, we have got PhDs in all these divisions. So we can as well have a specialized section for anybody who is looking for such an outlet.
Yes.
And that is what got the thought of the multi-speciality hospital, and we went into that. So that is where it stands now.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, when we were talking about how you came to Ayurveda, you said there were number of people at the same time who had fistula at that time. So, all this fistula is it's at the after the this thing, that is when you come to GI. I want to start about from the upper GI maybe.
Okay.
So, if you want to take care of the upper GI tract, what we call as Koshta in Ayurveda, so what will be the things that one person has to do from starting to eat properly, or what do you think in your specialty? How do you advise your patients?
Actually, you hit the nail on the head. How does a man remain healthy? It is basically the gut. How much appetite you have, how much you eat, and how you live in a healthy manner determines how healthy or how sick you are.
Exactly.
So basically, Ayurveda is known that we have to live in a particular manner, do everything systematically, then 80% you won't fall sick. 80%, that's the guarantee they are saying. And you can understand how much of an important it is. So people have slowly forgotten these things, especially during the British time and all. So it has been our focus that we should tell people what has to be done. Initially, there used to be grannies and elders in the family who used to tell us that you have to do this, you have to do that, you will remain healthy. So that particular thing I feel has got lost over a period of time. So I would like to bring this into this conversation so that people know how they should live. Now there is something called a health mantra. In this health mantra, the rishis have correctly told us how much, when, what we should eat and how we should eat. That's the basic. We are what we eat. There are only two inputs. One is the food we eat and one is all the thoughts that go into our body.
And all the exposures that we get.
All the exposures that we get. So, if we rectify these things, then we don't fall sick. So, let us go to the basics. So, timely food is very important because your body gets used to the time you are having food. So, four basic times we have. One is the breakfast, lunch, tiffin and dinner. The main meal anytime should be between 11 to 2 because that is the time the sun is highest. So Jatragni or our digestive enzymes will be secreting maximum during that particular period.
Exactly.
So 11 to 2 should be the main meal. The night meal we should finish by 7:30 because the sun sets at that time. After the sun sets, there is no Agni direct, right? So all our digestive enzymes generally go to rest and it goes to the other functions of the body like taking care of immunity and other things. So food should be over by 7:30. In case it gets delayed, then they should at least walk 20 minutes after their dinner. That they should remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, now coming to the point like morning, afternoon, evening, night. How much should you eat?
Yeah.
So we should always eat 3/4 of our stomach. So what is 3/4? How do you know it is 3/4? When you get up, you should never feel, wow, I had too much. That feeling should never come. You should be light. So the last chapati or the last rice should not be taken. So keep it at that particular level. That is 3/4. But one thing which everybody forgets is ask yourself how much appetite you have because your body is the best person to tell you how much you should eat. So
let me cut in here for a second. So what we are talking about here is personal wellness.
Yes.
Along with familial wellness.
Yes.
Along with community wellness also.
Correct.
That is the whole community. The people have to keep doing this thing so that nobody gets sick so easily.
Yes.
So when you come to when you say how much you have to eat and how you have to eat and what you have to eat, all these things differ from person to person. There are vegetarians, there are vegans, there are non-vegetarians, there are pescatarians. There are many different people now. New ways of looking at food and the way they eat food is changing all over the world. So what will be the place of, you said Jatragni, what will be the place of a person's digestive capacity or Agni?
Exactly. That is where our body language helps us. So when you say that, okay, I'm really very hungry, then 3/4 is what we spoke about, right? Yeah. So that the stomach contracts and expands. Yeah. Out of the 3/4, if you're very hungry, half should be solid, half should be side dish. And suppose you're not that hungry and say, okay, it is time up, I better have meal. Then only 1/4 should be solid. All the others should be side dish.
So when you say side dish, you mean
the rasam,
fruits,
sambar,
vegetables,
all those
the other things that we add with the main course. For example, the chapati or the fulka or the rice will be the main course.
Chapati, rice, fruits, sweets and oily substance.
All
these 5 are heavy.
Heavy, solids.
These 5 should come within that half or 1/4.
There is a misconception. People think fruits are very light.
No, actually fruits are difficult to digest. So fruit should be kept independent. So take it, either for tiffin or night. Maybe at bedtime you can have a fruit and milk. Because when you eat at 7-10 o'clock you feel hungry. So that's the time you can have a fruit. Or maybe, but never we advise food followed by a fruit salad, because everything becomes heavy. Preferably, fruit should be separate, is what we feel.
Yeah.
Generally, in a full dish during the festival and all, even if they supply fruits, they'll just put one or two, bits of banana.
I know.
That is for the significance of fruits being brought in. But the entire bowl of fruits will be heavy.
Yeah.
So I would definitely not advise fruits to also come into this.
Usually, what I do in my practice is when people come for, there are problems like high sugar, hyperglycemia, that is diabetes,
Yes.
and some other places also, even in high cholesterol and all that, when the lipid profile is not good, I ask them to take only 2 meals per day.
Correct.
But the third meal, even in the night, I ask them to take fruits, and I don't follow it up with milk or something if it is not a good Agni person.
Correct.
And how do you think that will work out?
That is absolutely right. Fruits independently is good.
Yeah.
Need not be followed by milk. It depends on the choice of a person.
Exactly.
A lot of patients come and tell me, I don't like fruits. So that kind of a situation, then you say, okay, have little of this and little
Yeah,
of that.
you can go for vegetables then,
Yeah,
some salad.
vegetable salads and things like that. So that is how basically the body language should be your guideline. Okay. Now, there's one more interesting thing I would like to bring in here. The Shastras always said Fridays vade paisam. Correct? So one oily substance and one sweet was included. Why? Because oil is very necessary for our body.
Yeah.
Extra oil is bad.
Yeah.
But people, kind of eliminate it. That is very wrong. Our joints always are like the, nuts and bolts. It needs the over oiling.
Yeah.
So internal over oiling by taking some oily food. So vada or samosas or anything are not bad, but it should be less frequent and less quantity.
Yes.
At the same time, you should not take more.
We have seen some, you would have also definitely seen this. We have seen some patients who do the extremes.
Oh, yeah.
Either they eat too much of these fried and oily foods,
Or they just don't have.
they just avoid. Their cholesterol will be completely okay, but they will avoid all oily substances,
Correct.
all ghee substances. Their sugar will be absolutely all right, but they will stop having sugar in there. Not even brown sugar or palm sugar candy or honey. They will
Exactly.
stop having that. And even rice. I've seen people who have stopped rice in their life.
Yeah, they go only for millets, like 100% millets. That is like, too much on either side.
Exactly.
You don't be either this side or that side. Internal lubrication by taking some oily food once in a while. External lubrication by having an oil bath is definitely one of the most essential things.
Exactly.
That we should not forget.
One more point, dear doctor. One was you talking about how much to eat in a person. That is, a grown-up will understand this. There are children whom we have seen their parents and grandparents just pumping food into them.
Exactly.
Even when the child is having fever, they will say, he ate only 3 idlis.
Yeah,
What is your
exactly.
idea about it?
So, every patient I meet, I definitely spend 10 minutes with them explaining they should not do that.
Yeah.
One thing what people have to really understand is what is digested is health. What is not digested is poison.
Yeah.
Please, they have to understand that they should not overfeed. If the child says podon, they should leave it. If the child is playful, if he is hungry, he will open his mouth, but he'll keep playing. That is separate. But they say no and push you away, miss. That is the limit. You should not go beyond that.
So what
that
do
is
you
very, very essential.
You also cannot leave a child, a very small child, to not eat at all. Even after 1 or 2 morsels of food, if the child says it is enough, how do you think you should develop it?
That is the time we should know that the child needs something for digestion and appetite. And that is why, when they are very young, we used to give that Shutta Karam, it is called in South, So you put a little bit of Vashamba, then ginger, and maybe, Haridaki. Small things like that. Or even pepper. If they are not hungry, you give them some pepper and honey.
It's an amazing
Things like that, yeah. Those things should be introduced. Okay, the child is not eating more. Give them Ajirna Panchanam, something that is so common. It's very much available, right? So those sort of digestives, nothing, then just take pepper, 1/4 teaspoon, mix it with honey, put it in the child's mouth. He'll be hungry the next meal. They will never stay hungry. They'll come and ask for food in the next meal. It's okay, wait for 1 meal.
Yeah.
But that digestion is very important.
So even when the child is not eating, it is better to give some home remedy like this with your doctor's
Yes.
advice, of course.
Yes.
And you allow the child to get good hunger
Yes.
and give enough food.
Yes. What they should do when the child is not eating, like give them what they like, kind of, a juice, not the one with the fridge ice or something like that. The normal juice or milkshake or kanji. If people are used to kanji, they can give them kanji. They will love all those kind of things.
Yeah.
For them, it's a delicacy. So they will do that.
So we have talked a little bit about Agni, about overeating. Now I want to also talk about the other side of the scale, about fasting. There are people who fast weekly once, weekly twice. Some people fast during Ekadashi. I would like to know what you think about fasting, madam.
Fasting is very, very essential.
Yeah.
All our scriptures have spoken about different types of fasting. Like, one time, Thursdays, Saturdays, don't eat one meal, right? Ekadashis, please don't have some food during Ekadashi time,
Yeah.
they will say. Then there is also Chaturmasam, where they have a constant regulated sort of food, where
Yeah.
they do a fasting sort of things. Why so much importance for fasting?
Not
Because
only in our Hindu tradition,
all,
we have seen in almost all traditions.
all traditions.
Like in Muslims, they have that. I think during Eid.
Yeah,
they
the
do this.
full month they have.
Full month they
Yeah.
have this fasting, and then in other, I'm very sure in other religions also, this fasting is actually a global concept, and
Yes.
it is coming now back as intermittent fasting, which you do
Yes,
daily.
yes.
So, what about this Ekadashi fasting, madam?
Okay. Fasting is basically to see that the liver gets time to digest the undigested food residing in our body. What in Ayurveda is called ama.
Some people will not understand when we say undigested food in the body, because I think we are talking about rasadhatu
Yes.
or anna rasa, maybe before that.
Anarasa.
So
or
a digested food which has not been assimilated by the body properly.
correct. When it's not properly baked. Shall we use the word baked?
Yeah, we
because
want
here
to
we
talk
talk
in-
about Agni, right?
Yeah,
The
we want to
digestive
talk
fire.
in layman
Correct,
terms so
correct.
that even a common man understands
Correct.
this. Yeah.
So, when the food is getting digested, it is supposed to be cooked properly, then it can be absorbed into the rasa, rakta, mamsa, meda and all that. So, here it is not getting properly cooked. Sometimes the undigested particles will be remaining here and there, which loosely spoken, we can say it is something like the cholesterol that is existing here
Yes.
and there. So, when that is there, then only we fall sick. So, we have to avoid this. Now, to avoid this, as you would have noticed in our tradition, every time whenever there is any festival or something, we'll say, okay, have this, have that, eat
Yeah.
little. And the type of food, everything will differ
It will
according
differ.
to the season and all that. So that is where fasting comes in. Okay, we have eaten more in the morning, we have gone to a marriage or it's a festival, we have eaten more. Then evening you must eat light. That day evening go for soups or kanjis.
For example, like Diwali, we have that
Yes.
Diwali legume.
Correct.
Very, famous in South
yes,
India.
very famous in South India. And that really sees to it that even the number of sweets you have eaten, that will at least help it to get digested.
Yeah.
So the basic principle is always that if food is digested, you never fall sick. So that is where our eye should always be. Both the parents, the people who bring up the elders should guide the youngsters. So this becomes essential. That is why to stop accumulation of this cholesterol or whatever we call it, ama, in Ayurveda it's called ama, that should be always our top priority. So once a week, if we are doing night meal light, just go for liquids, just go for something like that. That will see that the liver gets time to digest.
Even though you are not a diabetic patient,
Yes,
or a
yes, yes.
hypertension patient,
Every single person
even
should
when
do
you
that.
are not that. Yeah.
Yes, that is very important. So now Ekadashi. Now that is very funny. Why do you associate, Ekadashi or the 11th lunar day with fasting? There is a very interesting scientific proof for this one. Generally, from waxing and waning, the moon on the Ekadashi will turn towards the next cycle. That is whichever is near Purnima or Amavasya. So what it does, when it comes to Ekadashi, it shifts from there to here. Now you know that moon always has an effect on our water, right? All the tides, everything is based on that, and our body is of more than 60-70% water. Now when this shift takes place in the moon, at that particular Ekadashi, they are all at 120 degrees from each other, the earth, sun and moon. So the effect is maximum on our body and there is disturbance. Because of the disturbance, digestion is hindered. Just think how beautifully they have thought. So that day they say, take only liquids. or fast the full day, depending on your capacity, your health condition. Either you fast the full day with only liquids, and when there is lunch and dinner, you take some soup or things like that, kanji. But otherwise, you can take whatever type. It is kind of, I would say, do it as a celebration. Take it as fruit juice, vegetable juice, whatever you want, you have. Only when you're hungry, you go in for some soup and other things. Whole day, when you're giving this time, the body will adjust, and in fact, detoxification takes place because of that. That is the most important thing. When you are detoxifying your body, so you get 36 hours. The previous day, Ekadashi, previous night, then the whole day, and the next day till morning they fast.
Dwadashi,
So full 36 hours, which is counted for detoxification of the body. So that is wonderful. One more thing.
Please continue, doctor.
Mind is also affected. Moon represents mind, right? Chala mind. So that is why they even brought in you do pujas on that day, Ekadashi, Vratam, Puja, put your mind to all this God and reading about all. So that was for mind control. See how beautifully they involved mind and body.
So these are all coming in Shastras.
Yes.
When we say Shastra, it was the best science that was available at that time.
Yes, sure.
And this 120 degrees thing, I did not know. I have to definitely go and refer about that. That's a great point of view. However, whatever you have told, more than this, I'm very sure people who are following fasting, they would have definitely found that that their body has become lighter this thing, after fasting, and they are able to think in a clearer way and all that.
Very true.
And when you want to talk about science, we can definitely talk about Dr. Yoshinori Ozumi also.
Yes, he got a Nobel Prize for it, right?
Yeah, autophagy.
Autophagy. Because he found out what happens when you're doing fasting.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful process, scientifically explained. So I was really very, impressed with that particular thing. And I'm sure today even people who don't believe about these things, when they go through that, they certainly understand this. What he said was, when you're fasting, all this unwanted rubbish in the body, they literally use debris word there. Yeah. That is all put into a cell with a double layer membrane. And when you start fasting, and when the body requires something, this thing is recycled into the necessity that your body needs. Such a beautiful principle, no? Nature is really wonderful. So it's recycled, and we get the needed necessary from inside. So what happens? Detox takes place. Whatever is not necessary is sent out, and whatever is necessary is drained from our own unwanted or excess taken inside. Yeah. That really means a great proof of what the Rishis told in those days. Today it has been proved. I feel very, proud about being part of that science.
Very true, madam. Very true. So it is very fascinating to talk about this fasting, madam. So I want the public also to know whether is there a classification where some people should not fast, some people can fast. Of course, as a doctor, we might be knowing, but I want the public to know what is your.
Yes, definitely. People who are pregnant, who are breastfeeding, who are underweight, who have a lot of appetite. So these people generally should take care that they should not fast. They should at least have some liquids or some soups or something. And diabetic people who are on insulin, definitely they should not fast. So these are the basic criteria where you have to be a little careful of when and what you're fasting.
One thing intrigued me when you talked about the people who cannot fast. You said one who has more hunger. Ayurveda classifies people's Agni in different manners, like Mandagni, Tiksha.
Now that's a very interesting topic. Yeah. And I think these people should know. Okay, there are 4 types of Agni. Okay, and every man can judge himself what's the kind of Agni he has and eat accordingly to live healthily. So this Agni is a very interesting topic. Probably I would like to take 2-3 minutes for that one.
Please.
Okay? So there is one, the normal Agni, which people have. They feel hungry, they eat well, and they go on to their Samagni. So there, that is a normal one. Then there is something called Mandagni. How do you explain Mandagni? Mandagni you can explain like campfire, where the fire is so low, it is just burning, but it is covered with soot, and you practically have very nil appetite or very low appetite. And though you may have this burning feeling, eat something, it doesn't get digested. So Mandagni comes like the low campfire.
So I'm cutting in here. When we say Mandagni, We were talking about ama before. The
Yes,
undigested
exactly.
part of the annarasa, which is there at the cellular level.
Yes.
So in Mandagni, what will happen to the
It will
ama?
be maximum.
Maximum ama.
Maximum ama if they eat, even if they don't have hunger. Now, supposing you understand yourself and say, okay, I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat today. That's the best a man should do who has got low appetite.
Upvas.
If he does upvas, then his Agni will again, get up. It's like fanning the fire. Then it will get up. Then you eat. Then it gets digested. It doesn't have this ama or the cholesterol, and they feel okay. Wrong cholesterol, because cholesterol basically is essential for the body, obviously. Then you come to the Tikshna Agni. Tikshna Agni is like the forest fire, where every 2 hours they would have eaten meal, again within an hour or two they feel hungry, because here the generation of the digestive fire is too much. It is like the forest fire, so it keeps on asking for it. But even though they eat so much, they are not satisfied. Why? Because it is getting burnt. You are just eating for the sake of eating, but there is no nutrition out of it. It is getting burnt. It becomes like a ash. So there also, you will tend to find that despite eating so much, either they would have put on weight because of just accumulation here and there, or that they have no energy and they feel lost.
Many people come with this complaint to us. They say, after my afternoon meal, I doze off. Even when I'm working, it is the peak hour of my work.
Correct.
I eat and I doze off.
Correct.
That is one of the things, that either they are eating very heavy food.
Yes.
The quantity wise it might be less, but the quality wise it might be a very heavy food.
Exactly.
And the second is, quantity wise they might be eating
more also.
Or they did not have the correct Agni to digest it. Exactly. And they had a food which is of normal this thing that a person can easily digest.
But fire was less.
In all these cases, they tend to lose their energy and they doze off.
Yes, exactly. So what should they do?
Here,
a Vaidya will always give medicine to balance the Agni. So either less or more. When they give proper medicines, it will balance. If it is less, it will bring it more. If it is too high, it will liquefy. So that is one of the best advantages of Ayurveda. Okay. For example, no, there's one more Agni. 1 minute. Before that, I will just talk about the other Agni, last Agni. It is Vishama Agni. Now, a typical example of this Visham Agni would be like, there is a Agni which is good, but there is a fan next to it which is rotating. So sometimes when it rotates, it becomes very low. When it becomes too high, it will be fanned so high, and sometimes it will be normal. So typically you will have many such cases. I am sure most of the doctors will have, where they say, sometimes I'm so good, my motions are normal, and then sometimes I always have loose motions, doctor. It keeps switching. That definitely shows that it is not only the fire, it is the wind that is blowing on the fire which is disturbing. That is Visham Agni. So off the fan.
I am very sure you are trying to make this as simple as possible for the spectators.
Yes.
Although we want to keep the jargon very
minimal.
So when we say wind and fan, I hope they understand the metaphor.
Yes. Yeah. Probably we can put a slide disclaimer, where you show disclaimer. No, but it is true, because when wind is there, the gas stove will always, the flame will be flickering. So a person who is cooking in the kitchen will know that the fan is disturbing, so the first thing she does is off the fan. So there you have to take some medicine which reduces the gas.
That is an excellent example.
Yes.
When you are cooking in the kitchen,
exactly,
and you switch the fan on, whatever you are cooking either will take 2-3 times more time,
or
and you'll be wasting the gas, or it doesn't get cooked at all properly, right? So you switch off the fan, which means if the person is very gassy, if the person is having gastritis,
exactly,
you treat the gastritis.
Yes.
At the same time, you also help the Agni to come back. So finding the root cause will be the correct thing to
They'll be able to know what to take. Today, people have turned a lot towards nature. So especially after Corona, tell them and they'll tell you what spices for what. To that extent, they have started experimenting with spices and all. So when they are able to get a little bit of knowledge like this, okay, my appetite is low, so let me take something that improves my appetite. So automatically they'll go for pepper and ginger and other things. And when pitta is high, they go for swamp. So people have become a little more cautious about what they can take. So a little hints like this will help them to maintain their body.
Awesome.
That is
awesome.
what I feel. Yes.
One word which you were talking in between, which you took in between, was nature.
Yes.
That word intrigues me a lot. Not only the surroundings around you, even your body has its own nature. It has its own
Exactly.
prakriti. So I have in your website also we have seen some prakriti analysis and all which can be done. So I want you to elaborate on the prakriti analysis and what could be the advantage of having your prakriti found out. Each person can be a vata prakriti or a pitta or a kapha prakriti, or vata, pitta, kapha are the three general doshas that we see with Ayurveda. So that is how we classify people, that is how we classify medicines.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So based on this vata, pitta, kapha, why one should have their prakriti analyzed? What is the use? Number one. Number two, is it okay to do with a computer? You're doing it, I'm very sure you're doing it very, it's my own doubt also. I want to understand how good it is.
Correct. Now, I think you asked a very important question, which is very essential for the people to maintain their health, to know what is the dosha or the vata pitta prakriti or the constitution of a person. So that was a very good question. I think I'll go back here for in a simple language for the people to understand. Doctors, of course, all the Vaidyas know, but still there may be other people who are watching. So for them, I will just put across this. Anything in the world is 5 elements: sky, wind, fire, water, and earth. So this Pancha Mahabhuta, they have a tendency to come together like H2O. They are always together, H2O. Like that, the sky and the wind tend to come together. That is what we call Vata. Now this Vata is what is responsible for every single moment in our body. Whether you blink your eye or your heart is beating involuntary or you're breathing, your digestion takes place, you sleep, any activity comes under Vata.
I'm going to cut in here because I want to give some context here. The thing is, when we see the Vedas, they talk about Akashat Vayuhu. From space, air came. It is like how evolution happened.
Yes.
Okay, the premonitory, when things were started, when nobody was living, there were no organisms. How did everything evolve? People say Akashat Vayu.
Yes.
So these are very nearby, right? Both Akasha and Vayu.
Yes, Akasha and Vayu are very nearby.
So when they will tend to come together because one has given thing to the other.
Yes. So they both come together. That is Vata. The next is fire. If you see, the wind and the sky are invisible, kind of, right? Fire is intermediate, where it has no form but it is seen.
It is seen.
So this fire and water also tends to be part of fire, like the liquid HCl and all. That comes under fire, right? So Agni and Jala, when they come together, they form the Pitta or the fire element. And the third one, water and earth. They are the final one. They are responsible for the form or the structure which a person has.
Basically, from an invisible space, how did the universe form? Is Akashat Vayu, Vayu Agni, Agni Rabha, Abdev Prithvi, Prithuvya Oshadaya. That's what we say.
That is
so it becomes heavier. And at last...
And it attains a form. And that is how it is. Now, why are people so different? Because they combine in different proportions. That is why you find that there are thin, there are fat people, and then there are people who are in between, neither thin nor fat, and there will be all prakriti.
None of the 5 fingers are the same.
None of them will be the same. But the gunas will differ, which gives you an indication of who is what. A Vata Prakriti person will never be able to sit together in one place. He'll always be moving. Or even if he's sitting, he'll keep moving his leg.
Mildly hyperactive?
Yeah, mildly hyperactive. And always his thoughts will be like this.
Racy thoughts.
Racy thoughts. But it need not be steady. 1 minute he may be like this, 1 minute he may be like that. And he will tend to forget a lot. That is a Vata. Whereas Pitta people will be somebody, for him, Vata also, the appetite also matters. The appetite will be fluctuating. One day he may be feeling so hungry, and then the other day he'll be feeling very less hunger.
Like the Vishwagni you were talking about.
Yes, that is what. That is Vata. Pitta is fire. So obviously a person who is having Pitta will have always a huge appetite. But he'll be very intelligent, very bright, and Generally the complexion will be white reddish, that fire color will be there.
Yeah.
He is the person who may be more having the tendency to go for acidity or hyperacidity and things like that, right? And kapha is basically what you call the, children always having phlegm. The phlegm comes out white in color and heavy, steady. A person who is a kapha will always be steady. You can be sure they will be permanent partners in life. They will never fluctuate on anything, like an elephant. Steady, one path. Even if there is fire, no, they'll walk slowly and go. They will not walk fast. That is a typical kapha there. And their mind also, they may be slow in learning, but they'll never forget. Once it goes into their mind, means till the end of their life, it will be there. It will be there. That is kapha. That is steady. That's the structure. Now there are 2 more or 3 more, total 7. So it is vata, pitta, kapha, then vata, pitta, pitta, kapha. All those
permutation combinations.
combination. That is why you see so many types of people all around.
Even in permutation combination,
Yes.
there will be taratama beda also.
Yes, taratama veda also.
When
One
you
will be
see-
more,
Yeah,
one will be
when
less.
you can see a pitta kapha person, but in some people the pitta will be more, in some people the kapha will be more, in some people both pitta and kapha can be
Maybe,
equal.
equal.
So this taratama beda on the scale can also happen. So
Yes.
actually Acharya in one place he says Prakriti is innumerate,
Yes,
but for the sake of understanding we make it into 7.
exactly.
Right.
7 dominant ones.
7 dominant ones.
Now here comes the question of you ask, no? Why do you have a Prakriti chart? Or why should one really know about Prakriti?
Why should one?
Because unless you know yourself, how will you guide yourself? Okay, I am a kapha, if you know. Then you know that, you have got lot of earthly qualities in you. You should always tend to reduce your weight. You should not eat too much, or you should not eat fatty substances too much. You must take more of pepper and things digestive so that your food gets digested. Whereas a vata person should know that he should not stay hungry for long. He should be able to eat food on time, and it should be like something substantial enough. It should not be little. It doesn't, go down with his thing. Whereas a fire person cannot delay food. He should have food on time, otherwise acidity will occur. So each, this vata, pitta, kapha, will each exhibit the combination of what it is existing with, right? So unless you know that, how do you guide yourself on the path of life for a healthy life? So Prakriti becomes important.
Whatever be the nature of your body,
Yes.
Ayurveda can help you to understand yourself, number
Yes,
one. Number
yes.
two, have a long life also.
Yes.
Right?
So you don't have to, basically, there was never a question that you have to run to a doctor for everything. This was something that came down traditionally. So
Yeah.
elders in the house would always do that.
Yeah.
You have a cold, a pepper rasam will appear on the table. In Nikki, you have to take pepper rasam.
Yeah.
So that was the type of thing. Any little thing, no, they will know, okay, do this, do that, okay,
Yeah.
give parangayam, do. So it was a way of life. It was our culture. But now we don't have that.
Ayurvedam, right?
Ayurveda.
Life science.
Life science. So it was beautiful. But now people need something to find out what it is. The nuclear family, the way of life, we shift from place to place. And the world has become small enough to be able to tell everybody that how they can look after themselves. So this Prakriti chart came out of that. So this is easy for anybody to understand. It is like the quality. Now, for example, motions we take. So a person who is having different type motions, it will be very light or it will be floating, means vata is more. So they tick in the column of vata. In pitta, it will always be generally semi-solid in nature. There may be some burning sensation. Okay, then they tick pitta. Kapha
And
will always
the
be dominant
bilirubin,
and heavy.
the unconjugated and conjugated
Yes,
bilirubin also,
yes.
the motion will look yellow in color.
Yellowish
Pitta.
and yellowish, more of
Yeah,
yellowish or
yellowish.
darker brownish. Vata will be having blackish.
Sometimes.
Whereas, sometimes. Otherwise, it will be more on the darker side,
Yeah.
not very light.
Yeah.
Whereas kapha will be more on the whitish side or the light yellow,
Light
things like
yellowish,
that.
yeah.
So, like this, each and everything, like your skin type. If your skin is dry, it is vata. If it is normal and whitish and other things, it is pitta. Kapha will be more heavy, dominant. There will be more bulky in nature.
I am very sure, like how the modern stool tests and urine tests are there. I know that there is Mutra Pariksha. I
Yes.
want the people to understand. I'm very sure we will be able to formulate a set of physical tests for like a stool test and a urine test based on Ayurvedic parameters only. Do you think that is possible?
Yes, it is possible. And nowadays they have come
With
out with lot of
standardized parameters also.
standardized parameters. And nowadays they have come out with lot of equipments also, no, where you are able to make out the prakriti,
Yeah.
and they are giving all the analysis themselves
Yeah,
on the
I wanted
spot
to
and
ask
all.
about your Prakriti analysis in your website also.
Yes. In that, what we have done, we have put a form which anybody can fill, even a common person can fill. And after filling, there's a total that comes up that tells you which is your Prakriti.
Amazing.
And then we guide them according to that. We have got this thing below where, they can put in, and then one of our people will
This
assist them.
Prakriti
with that.
analysis, the initial one, which, for example, if I am a layman
Yes.
and I come and do this analysis in
Yes.
your website, it's free of cost for me to do
It
that?
is free of cost. It is for everybody to know about themselves, to live a healthy life.
Wonderful.
So we have made it free, and I'll give you the website also, which you can put it so that people will be able to go in, fill it, know about themselves. That would be actually very ideal, and that's the base of being healthy also. So I definitely welcome everybody to come. Any doubt, they can put it below, and we can clarify that.
Yeah.
We help them out with that one.
One more thing, when we talked about, you said how our elders behave when we are not feeling well. When you have a cold or a
Yeah.
fever, you get a pepper rasam.
True.
The way it is also very important for always my grandfather, my mother, when they were there with us, they always used to tell us, take your oil bath regularly.
Oh yes, definitely.
So, why do you think oil bath is very necessary for people to take?
Why do people overoil their car or service their car after so many kilometers? Because it gets worn and torn, right? Similarly, in our body also, all our cells, all our organs and functioning of the entire thing, especially the five senses that are here, everything needs to be lubricated to work in top precision, in the top gear, right? So, the brain is a collection of all the nerves, right? And it is right at the top. Hair oil, according to me, was never meant for the hair. The oil put here was to lubricate the brain and the entire nervous system. If you observe.
So, when we say lubricate the brain,
Yes.
again, I hope people get the idea. It is, you put it on the scalp,
Yes.
the guna, the effect of that over a period of time, years and years of applying it, will go inside. Right? Is that
it is not so much longer. Let me give you a simple example. Anybody who has not put oil, let them put 3-4 teaspoons here, or who is having a headache, or who is having excess heat after having worked in the sun. They come home, they take oil, they put here some 3-4 and do like this. Within 10 minutes, you feel the coolness in the eye. Nobody can deny this.
Yeah.
I know a lot of doctors say, no, it doesn't penetrate and other things. But this is a general thing.
Oil per se will not penetrate you.
Yeah, but the guna does penetrate.
For example, a 5-year-old child, if it opens the fridge, it does not have to take anything from the fridge.
Exactly.
2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, if it stands just before the fridge. Our children definitely do that.
They do that.
The same day night they end up with a fever.
Yes.
The fridge did not go inside them. The food in the fridge did not go inside them.
Yes, it is the guna that goes.
Getting exposed to a cold thing triggered a series of immunity factors in the body, and then the fever appeared. Right?
Yes.
The same way, oil can also be very helpful for. We call this murdri taila. No?
Yes, and it helps the eyesight.
Yeah.
It helps the hearing, the nose and the tongue. If you remember, our great grandfathers and all, even the age of 80, 90, they used to be going to the second floor to dry their clothes, and they used to be so active.
My father does it even today.
Even today,
84.
isn't it? See.
Because he takes his oil bath. We have a clinic, we have a setup. So he takes his oil bath very regularly.
Exactly. And honestly speaking, if you take statistics, people after 40 who get so much of joint pain and other things are people who have never used oil in their life.
Yeah, that happens.
They are so phobic that they don't even take ghee also internally.
Yeah, we were talking about that little bit.
So definitely that lubrication is very essential. When they do that, you don't get joint pains. They are not understanding. Just like you overhaul your car, similarly when you overhaul your body, the pores open up. That is why we heat the oil and put. And in the skin when we apply and all, the pores open, the oil is soaked inside. Then you put a hot water bath, and that day don't use soap, because soap will remove all the oil. So use some, gram flour or shikekai or something like that, so that some oil remains and you can see the difference. Generally people with skin diseases like psoriasis and other things which are so dry, You put oil on them, you will find the difference
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah, we do.
It does.
The
And
right oil, the right amount of oil, and after
very
that,
good.
yeah, you allow a little bit of the moisture to stay.
Exactly.
I
And
have a very interesting story, a small story with this. When you said we have to apply oil to all the senses, what happened once I got a severe viral infection in my eyes, both my eyes. I had a bad cold and I also had a severe viral infection of the eyes. I went to I wanted a second opinion, so I went to one of the big eye hospitals in the city. And immediately what the doctor wrote was a steroid eye drops with a tapered dose. 5 days you take it for three
yeah,
times, then 5 days 2 times. I was jarred. I asked her, I don't want this. I can wait. It can go by itself. I can use something else. I don't want a steroid. Somehow I did not want a steroid. But then the doctor was very insistent. She said, no, you have to take this. You have come here. You please listen to me. Uh, what I did was, because I did not feel comfortable, I don't advise this to others to uh, not listen to your doctor. No, that is not what I'm advising here. Okay. What I did was I came back to my clinic. I sat. I thought. I was thinking what I was taught with Ayurveda. I took a simple Gandharvastadi Taila and
exactly.
I put 2 drops in each of the eyes. I had severe dry eyes, severe redishness, itching all over. 2 drops in this eye and 2 drops in the other eye. I just slept off that day. Next day morning, I was 70% okay.
Yes.
And then 2 to 3 times a day, I used this. And then after that, it was completely gone. I was given steroid eye drops for 15 days. See, I don't have a problem with the steroid eye drops if the doctor is going to prescribe it for something very much needed. But something as simple as a Gandharvastari Taila
Helps.
helps.
Yes,
With two
exactly.
drops in 2 to 3 days, you are
And
completely okay.
yeah.
And people say Ayurveda is slow. I never agree. That is
No,
a myth
that
we
is
have to
definitely
bust.
is not applicable at all,
Yeah.
actually. And here I would like to add one more thing. You were talking about scientific proof of whether the oil or the ghees that we use goes inside. There is scientific proof.
Mhm.
In our Panchkarma textbooks, where experiments have been done and they have noted when we are doing the Panchkarma, that is the Shuddhi, 21 days, 14 days, all the detox and all we do know, in how many days the oils we are using and the medicines are using is going into the intestine,
Yeah.
and how many days it stays there, how it is expelled. Full
How-
scientific proof
Yeah.
exists.
In how many, I am not very sure in how many minutes, Shushruta Acharya in one place he says, after you take food, after so much of time, it reaches each of these tissues.
Exactly. There are such several references. Only people who don't know will comment. There is no proof and all that. But there
No,
is lot of proof
outlook
available.
of science was very different during those days. They did not have this modern evidence-based medicine at that time. They, like how they are in nowadays, children are taught about fever, about antibiotics. Even in school, they have a small part. That way, even in those days, the science was Ayurveda and the Vedas. So they were taught these Vata Pitta Kapha things from the time they were
Correct.
children in the school, which means they were introduced to these topics, and the way of research was happening through this path.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, we lost our way in between, and now we are going to regain that. That is also there.
Very true.
So the oil bath you say is very essential. So how many days once you think a person should take?
See, Shastra says every day.
Yeah.
We cannot.
Abhimam,
Let us be
nityam
practical.
acharet.
Nityam acharet. So at least once a week.
Yeah.
At least once in 10 days.
Yeah.
At least once in fortnight. But please do. Because only then you will realize the benefits of it.
Yeah, if I don't want to do it at home, I am not equipped or I don't want to do it at home, I usually advise my patients who say that I don't want to do this at home. It's very messy. I don't feel like I'm very tired and all that. I ask them to come for a regular massage with this thing.
Yes, you have hit the nail on the head. Nowadays, in most of the Ayurvedic centers, you have facilities for doing massage and different types. Actually, we have a wonderful range in our hospital itself. What we have done for people to remain healthy, we have got membership programs.
Yeah.
Especially, see, sickness is individualized. You
Yeah.
cannot generalize that. But for remaining healthy, you definitely can. So, what we have done, an individual membership or a husband and wife membership, couple membership, or for family. And in family, we have included the parents of both father and mother.
Oh.
Because everybody has to be there and the kids. So, there is one family membership where we give down to earth rates, so down to earth that they are able to look after themselves. Here we insist at least monthly, once or twice, all of you should have an oil bath. And once in 3 months, you should have something called the dhara, which takes care of the mind. If their body is very dry, then we tell them to take Navarkali. There are huge number of options which people can choose according to their body type.
Yeah.
And I would advise, near you, there will be many Ayurvedic centers who are having. I'm sure the Vaidyas there will guide them as what is individualized for them. This thing, if they do, I'm sure that health is something basic. You don't have to run around. You may have to go only for the remaining 20% of some problem in our system.
Amazing, amazing. So, madam, when you were mentioning in between, you said doctors should guide their patients. So, I want to take some clue from there. So, when you want to guide your patients over the phone or when they come to you, not only medicines we prescribe, we also give a lot of home remedies.
Yeah.
Okay? We give a lot of home remedies. So, what I'll do is now I'll question you like a rapid fire round. Okay.
If
So-
it's rapid fire, I'll give only 1 or 2 tips per.
that's absolutely fine. One or two.
Okay.
We'll do one or two. So what we'll do is I'll list out the complaint.
Okay.
When I say one complaint, then you can give your tips.
Sure.
Done. So we were talking about first when we started the topic. We were talking about Agni and the stomach, how you are supposed to digest. So I think I'll start from there. So constipation.
Okay. Constipation is when the body becomes too dry. So the first thing they must do is start taking ghee at home. At least, even WHO says that it gives out oxygen when it goes in and it is good cholesterol. So don't have a doubt. You are not going to put weight and it is good cholesterol. 2 teaspoons per meal is definitely advised. You take ghee regularly, you will never have constipation. That is one point. But suppose you already have constipation, then boil some jeera water. Cumin, you put in a glass, boil it down to half. In that, you put 2 to 3 teaspoons of castor oil and have it hot. You will get very good motions.
This is during the morning or during
Any time. Because when the constipation is there, you will have the discomfort throughout the day. You can do it anytime, even at night, 2 o'clock you take also, you get some relief. Otherwise also, things like Trifla is there, Avipatika Churnam is there, which are common things which most of the people use. 2 to 3 teaspoons in hot water will clear your bowel in the morning.
Amazing. So next one is gastritis.
Yes. When you talk about gastritis, I take it as Vata, Vayu, that is lot of dryness. In this dryness, similarly, you can add castor oil to it along with hing, perangayam. So that asafoetida has got a wonderful quality, but today you will have to take at least half teaspoon. Previously you used to put 2 pinches. So that also clears the gas. So also buttermilk with hing also is a very good option.
Amazing.
So these two help out immediately in 10-15 minutes. Even when they're having severe hiccups also, when you take things like this, it reduces off.
Acidity.
Acidity is burning sensation. So the best thing is milk with ghee. You take 1/4 glass of milk, you put 2-3 teaspoons of ghee, that also helps. Any coolant, juices, milkshakes, all these things are very prone to bring down the acidity immediately. Only don't let it build up inside you. You feel the first pang of it, take it immediately and that will help you out.
Loose motions.
Yeah. Loose motions, one of the best remedies I can think of, which my granny taught me incidentally, is having buttermilk with methi, that is fenugreek. You take 2 teaspoons of fenugreek, not powdered. The whole thing you should swallow it up with buttermilk. Do it in half an hour, 2 or 3 times, your loose motions will stop. Especially one which is due to indigestion and all, simple ones. If you have an infection and it is going 10-20 times, you have to run to the doctor.
Yeah.
But the simple things, this will heal.
Okay. So small burns at home.
Ghee is one of the best antidote for burns. What I have seen, personal experience, I had a gas fire where, but you won't find the scars. Because the moment you have these burns, you apply ghee off fully, that takes off the heat. It's a balancer of heat, no? You won't have the burns. So application of ghee in a place where you have got fire, or if that is not available, oil, or you can dip your hand into the flour or somewhere where the flour will take away the heat. So basically it is about removal of the extra heat from the hands where the burns won't go to that degree.
This is after the running water that we use?
No, we don't use water on fire. If there is a burns, we don't immediately put our hand, is what some people say, and I go for that particular opinion. There are different opinions, but I believe that this is better. Instead
Ghee
of
is
water,
better.
this is better.
Good.
Because it doesn't remain, the scars don't remain, which is very essential for any person today, right?
Yeah. How about small sprains, joint sprain?
Joint sprain. Joint sprain or pain, no, is very helpful. Any oil you have at home, if you have Narayan Telam, Pindatelam, or any oil that is at home, suppose you don't have a oil, you just boil the gingerly oil, add little bit of, a little bit of pepper or clove in that one.
While boiling?
Yes, while boiling. It should only, the smoke should come. It's not boil per se. Then give a good rub. And you make a small bundle of crystal salt. Tie it up. And then you soak it in that oil and give a fermentation. You'll get immediate relief with pain. It's very effective.
Amazing. So, general body pain?
For general body pain, yes, again you will have to go in for some sort of a decoction, just like in Corona you used to avoid, So take some dhania, some pepper, maybe some dalchini a little bit, and make a decoction. And in that you can even put some milk, mint leaves and tulsi leaves and all. Boil it and you drink that. That also gives you a little bit of healing in your body pain.
Good. Dry cough.
See, this is where I find it is very important question, because there is wet and dry, and people don't realize when it is dry cough also, they try to struggle by taking some cough syrup, but you need a lubricant. So this is the time when you should use things like milk with ghee. Without ghee, I find dry cough response very slow. So there is one particular ghee. Here I am going to use medicinal name. It's called Adatoda. Adatoda ghee is one of the best things for dry cough that immediately brings it on. Or things like Pavalavasma. You have to use a coolant for a dry cough. Then only it works. The best thing is turmeric milk. So boil milk with half teaspoon, quarter teaspoon turmeric, half teaspoon pepper powder, and 2-3 teaspoons of ghee. You boil this along with sugar or jaggery, whatever you want, and then drink it hot. Whole night you will sleep well without disturbance. That fluid is necessary. The liquid portion or the moisturizing effect is very essential. So that helps.
Sleeplessness?
That's a good point. Again, milk, of course, many people say that milk gives sleep. But there is one more thing. Gasgas paisam, khaskhas what we call, no?
Yeah.
So that if you make it into a paisam, that is a sweet. I think paisam is the common one, right?
Paisam.
So that will give very good sleep.
That is, boil it with milk. That's all.
Boil it with milk, but with jaggery. But it will not boil very well. So what you should do, take khaskhas 2 teaspoons, take 4 teaspoons of rice, soak it for about half an hour. Then churn it in the mixie, and then you boil it with milk and jaggery. No, that gives a very good paisam taste, and that gives very good sleep and natural sleep. That is soothing, healing. The vata gets pacified, so sleep is good.
Yeah. So I think we have talked enough about this. This thing, home remedies. What I would like to talk about now is also your specialty areas, madam. I hear that you are doing a lot of work in autism.
Yeah, autism is very interesting, and I find that nowadays, in the past 10 years, we find a lot of people having autism. I don't know whether they are diagnosed now more often or previously it wasn't so much, I do not know, but a lot of such things are coming up. Yeah. And when you see these kids, you really feel so sad about that, But what I'm very happy to proudly say, that Ayurveda has got remedies for autism.
Yeah.
So, once you diagnose that the child is either autistic or he has got ADHD, or all these things, any other things, generally Vata is very dominant. And you have to give medicines that work on the brain. What we have found is whenever they are diagnosing outside, they are only going for, vocational therapy sort of thing, speech therapy, they are going, therapy, all such things. Therapy. But whenever I ask them, no, they don't have any internal medicine. No. Whereas Ayurveda is a treasure cove for such things.
We help a lot of children with autism, ADHD, and spectrum disorder, ASD.
Works very well, and especially for this hyperactivity and other things, a massage, a panchkarma, Navirkili and Bastis. 3 days you'll find that their hyperacidity is coming down slowly.
Hyperactivity.
And and 14 days of therapy, brings a huge difference. Generally, people will come, Varmandalam, Sasa say Varmandalam. And it's very true, in Varmandalam, no, you can see the difference. The parents are so happy. Attention, eye contact, all these things comes. And even
Sitting tolerance is one of the important things that will happen after a 14 days Panchakarma. Right now, I'm treating a child. So
yes,
with
definitely you
Panchakarma,
find that. You have also found that, no? Very nice.
Very fast.
Otherwise, they'll be running all over the room in the first consultation. Then they'll be sitting calmly and discussing things.
Even with Panchakarma, first 2-3 days, we don't immediately go with Shirodhara, Takradhara and all.
Yes, you must lubricate them.
Yeah, we give simple head massage and body massage, maybe a Nadi Svedam here and there. So simple treatments, the child gets settled with the same therapist. And after 2-3 days,
and they're so cooperative, no?
After that, they become very cooperative. We have now moved on to Shirodhara and Takradhara in 7 days.
Yes.
So next 7 days will be an excellent treatment for the child.
Yes. And they are responding, sir.
Very much.
Nice.
Autism is one of the areas where Ayurveda is doing wonders.
Is doing wonders. And I'm glad that people are at least now approaching and saying, okay, my child is. First, they will hesitate to accept that the child is not doing well. That is the basic thing there.
Yeah, you can go for a general examination of the patient and then of the child, and you can also do internationally accepted questionnaires are available to find out what is.
Actually, that's how I judge our progress, because in the school when they give results, when you see the past result, this result and all, clearly they'll mention all the differences that we are seeing in the child. So they are accepting that yes, it is there.
Yeah.
That is the very good aspect about it.
That was one place where I wanted to talk about. And other than autism, we are going to talk a little bit about therapies also here, because I want the general public to understand that these things are there. There is a leech therapy in Ayurveda, Chalauka Charana.
Our specialities,
our
right?
Speciality,
yes.
Our speciality. There are a lot of myths about this leech therapy, that it does not work, it is humbug, it is pseudoscience and all that. Your experience with leech therapy?
Man? Yeah. I will tell you the most evident thing that we saw. One patient had come from the nearby village, and the thumb and the first toe, it was already, running in for gangrene. The blackness has set in, and the operation was fixed for the next week. So when they had come and they asked for treatment, we told, if you are able to accept this particular thing, and you come for 3 sittings before you go for the this, they agreed. You have to convince them a little, because
consent is needed.
That is always
without
there.
Patient consent,
and after doing that, they were able to save the thumb and this. That is practically with our own eyes we have seen. Now it is back to natural feet.
Amazing.
Yeah, it does wonderful job. So that is one place. Then varicose veins. Varicose veins also, sometimes it opens up and down. When you feel that the veins are really filled and you need to do something, it has got tangled, you use leech. It works wonderfully well.
Yeah, we do.
That's another thing. Then another thing is for the hair. Hair growth. For hair growth also, leech works fantastic. For hair growth,
in my practice, I have not used. I have used in varicose veins and...
for hair growth, it works out. Especially where there are places where, that there are small patches or...
So like alopecia, areata?
Those sort of things.
Oh, wonderful.
You are getting your result in leech also.
Amazing.
So these are all very good areas that you can use.
Other area is about psoriasis, eczema, skin diseases.
Yes, skin diseases. Skin disease also very good.
So in which skin diseases do you use the leech therapy in your patient?
Especially which are very chronic, and they would have become almost black and blood circulation is affected. In many places you will see the lower feet is blackish.
Still, it must be like a Eka Kushta in single place or 2-3 places.
No, it can
not
be.
Not all over the body.
It can be. You do it in one of the places where it is very bad, and then you see the difference. Then probably you can use in one. If in a limb, you can use 2 or 3. And you see the difference there. And internally,
when
of course, we are giving...
you can use 2 or 3 leeches.
Yes, you can use 2 to at least 4 to 5 leeches also at a sitting,
depending
on the area.
I also want to give a disclaimer here. What we are telling here if somebody wants to do this, they have to go to a qualified doctor.
You have to go to a doctor, and please don't use any leeches. There are certain leeches which are very poisonous.
Very poisonous.
You have to use only medicinal leeches in a proper clinic under the
supervision of a doctor.
No doubt about that.
Not every leech is good.
Not every leech is good.
It is selected very, very, very meticulously before we... It's very difficult for us to procure these leeches and take them.
And one more thing I would like to tell you is when you are using the leech, you have no pain. People think, you have pain and other things. Very rarely. One in so many may be having, but otherwise you don't have pain at all. and it falls off by itself when it is full.
After
So
it's
you
full.
don't have to worry at all. You put turmeric and it falls off. So it is very easy. That is why Dhanvantri has it in his hand. No?
Yeah.
Definitely a most easiest method of anti-poison.
One more area I wanted people to understand that Ayurveda can offer something for them is infertility. In infertility, both male and female infertility play a big role. My PhD was in male infertility, so I'm very intrigued about that topic.
Yeah.
In infertility, in which areas you are working, madam? What is your specialty? How do you-
Generally, I treat both the male and the female.
Yes,
As
you always
usual, we
have.
first go into their history, see what is what,
Mhm.
and ladies, if they are having issues with their uterus and their regularity of periods or hormonal disturbances, we will check all the criteria.
Yeah, we have to look
And,
at uterine causes, ovarian
yeah,
causes, fallopian tube
and whether
causes.
they have fibroids or irregular periods or dysmenorrhea,
Hormonal,
whatever. So first, balance this particular thing. One thing about Ayurveda I would like to highlight is we have medicines that function. See, it will go to the uterus, tap the uterus and say, work properly. So whether it is scanty or excess, medicines work. Because it will tap the organ and say, work normally.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, it gets balanced, right?
We
so
also
that's one
have
of the plus
Utravasti,
points.
where we
Uttar
give
Basti is
medicine
very good.
inside the uterus. Our clinic is one of the places where we do Utravasti.
Yeah, we also
have
do
done more than
Utravasti.
5,000 Utravastis in
Yes,
in
and very
fertility.
effective.
Very
You
effective.
agree, right? Whether it
In
is
fact,
for the male
I
or
go
female,
and
it works.
I go and train doctors in CCRAS. I go to Chirtruti and I train them in Utravasti because we do this. We have been doing this
And
tradition.
generally,
What
it gives
about-
very good result.
Yeah, in your experience, Utravasti, ma'am,
Uttar Basti works very well, both for male and female. It
in
works
what
very
conditions do you use?
well. Especially say there is a block, fallopian tube
Fallopian tube block.
or any
Hydrosalpinx.
such places. Yes, these things. And in male also, when for any disturbances in the semen counts and other things also. Yours is research. I don't
That is-
even have to
that
say
is-
that.
that is-
There definitely it works very well. So all these things play a huge role. And definitely 3 to 6 months of medication, many times within 3 months also. But when things are simple, no, even without going for Panchkarma, they become pregnant.
Yeah.
In that way, if you see, our percentage of success is much higher than 2 or 3% that people talk about outside. In Ayurveda, I would say 40 to 50% of success rates are definitely there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, you also
very
look
happy.
at specific protocols. Do you have specific protocols for PCOD, for lean PCOS,
Yes.
for obese PCOS?
Yes, and even for
amenorrhea,
hormones.
dysmenorrhea,
Yeah.
hormonal problems. In
Even for
female-
hormonal disturbances, when some hormones are very high, we have to bring it down, whether
Yeah.
it is prolactin, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There are simple herbal medicines which work. It's amazing, but they can really work very strongly and nicely. I generally don't believe in giving a hormonal medicine to reduce. Ayurveda basically
we
believes
don't
in that,
have,
right?
Yeah,
We
that
don't-
is again a big myth that we have to
Yes.
bust.
Yes.
Ayurveda does not have synthetic steroids,
Yes.
no
We don't have.
corticosteroids.
Yes.
We don't use that.
We don't use.
Our medicines are safe when it comes to, we don't use any steroids anywhere.
Exactly. That is one thing you can be sure of. We don't believe in that at all. Generally, anything that is not good for human beings, we don't insert, right?
Yeah.
Or which we say, okay, if you take this for a longer time, it will bother you. We don't bother to give such medicines. You give a medicine, does not give a side effect. That is the best. Where mistakes happen is only sometimes when the analysis or people come to the counter and buy without asking us. They'll go, acidity patient will go and buy a Arista. Now, Aristas will increase the pitta. It is not meant for you. It is meant for a kapha person. But they'll say, my neighbor used it, so I want this. Please give me this. That's the only time when some things that happen. And another common questions that people will ask, no, Ayurveda, romba heat. Do you think
Yeah.
that it will bother me? Ayurveda is not heating, Baba. It is on what medicines you take, how you take, when you take. All these things are
Balance.
very important. So a balance and a proper guided medicines will never give a side effect.
Wonderful. So, madam, can you enumerate which
The most,
autoimmune disease you are teaching?
Yeah.
Especially, I want to know about IBS.
yes, IBS works wonderfully well. Actually, the easiest way would be to talk to you about a patient, right?
Mhm.
There was this patient who since more than 10-15 years had this particular problem, and she used to have loose motion, constipation, this alternation. When we talk about it, I generally try to diagnose this in the Ayurvedic method. So in the Ayurvedic method, we will call it IBS, whereas they use another name for that. So when we are doing that and we gave her treatment, actually she was abroad. So she said, for whatever we have to do, Panchakarma and other things, I'll come after 3 months there. 3 months you give me medicine. You'll be surprised. With the medicine itself, she came with a report saying, okay.
So
It was amazing.
You took it like Grahani?
Yes, Grahani. I took it like Grahani. I always feel, see, don't be deterred by the names that the people offer. I will listen to everything. I'll see all the records. I'll mention all the records. But when I'm doing the diagnosis, I'll do it only basic, purely on Ayurvedic method. And treat according to their dosha, no, it helps.
So what about rheumatoid arthritis?
Rheumatoid arthritis, definitely we get very good result, and the spacing between which they get the attacks become very minimum. Some people are very happy with it also.
So they come with steroids, without steroids?
Yes, with steroids, without steroids, with full swelling, sometimes bedridden also they will come, and all the joints will be affected. That also is possible, and sometimes it is only on the knee or some places where it is affected. Here all we can go on the principles of Amavata, like we go for the traditional method of removing the ama and then treating the disease and other things, and internal medicines with rasa preparations. I always find that in autoimmune diseases, rasa preparations have been my friends always. You have to use this because of the intensity of the disease that we are facing. See,
so
it is.
I have to give some context for the viewers here.
Yeah, please.
Rasa medicines means, yes, some minerals or some metals will be used in preparation. It is a herbo mineral preparation, but when they are prepared in the right way told in the texts, they are not poisonous.
Exactly. They are not metals.
They are not metals because
they are only oxides.
They lose their malleability, ductility, luster, everything. They become bhasma.
Yes.
And there have been cases to whom I have given bhasmas for 16 years.
Yes.
And we have a thorough record of the LFT and RFT and the USG.
Exactly.
Nothing happens. My own children take Swarna Prashna every month.
Yes.
Used in the correct amount and prepared in the right way. Yeah. Your kidney and liver are not at any risk, even after years of exposure.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I 100% endorse that.
Yeah.
It is always oxide. People keep saying metal. It is not metal. It is oxide.
Metallic oxides.
Metallic oxides, and metallic oxides are something that doesn't bother you. So that is something. And I found that in all the chronic or difficult cases like this, whether it is autoimmune or something that is very chronic, which they say there is no medicine for and things like that, these things are really our saviors.
Yes,
they do wonderful jobs. Whether it is fibromyalgia, whether it is autoimmune disease, anything it does.
We have a lot of scleroderma and MCTD patients where we give a lot of this rasa drugs with the patient's consent.
And we get so much satisfaction when they are doing well, right? That is something.
Amazing. It was a great conversation with you.
Yes, I also enjoyed.
We would really like to have you in one more this thing. We'll see how the viewers receive this, and we will definitely.
I hope it is useful for them. Basically, I thought that something which makes them help to keep themselves healthy. That was the most important underlining factor. So maybe some of them knew about it, maybe some did not. But how to maintain yourself is very important. Today, fitness is the word, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So thank you so much for being with us in LiveRight Ayurveda Clinic today.
And thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Namaste.